Oh, hey, hi, you made it. That's great. Hello there and welcome to Stitch-Ilonka International. I need a new theme. Theme song. Welcome to Stitch-Ilonka. This is, my name is Ilonka. Yes, it's spelled with an I, but pronounced with an E. And you are here on my Flosstube channel where I talk about cross-stitch and a bit of crochet. And yeah, I'm here in Hamburg. I'm in Germany, and I am so looking forward to interacting with you here on my new channel. I'm also doing German Flosstube videos. I'm gonna link the channel below. But yeah, if you are here, you're probably, you can probably better understand me if I'm talking English, right? So yeah, to my new subscribers, hey, wonderful. I'm glad that you found me. And to my returning viewers, hi. I'm so happy that you clicked on the link and that you just subscribed to this new channel and that you came back to talk to me a bit. I'm very much looking forward to showing you all the things this week. It's been a rather exciting fortnight. I love the word fortnight, by the way. But rather interesting 2 weeks, and I've got a lot to show you. So let's start. So not to toot my own horn here, I think I'm gonna do this with my left hand. Okay, this sentence might not make any sense to you, but we are reintroducing my segment.
Hello, hola, guten Tag, ni hao, konnichiwa, bonjour, buenos dias, salve, brevid, spreche aus aller Welt, sayings from around the world. Hello, hola, guten Tag, ni hao, konnichiwa, bonjour, buenos dias, salve, brevid.
Yes, because because under my last video, some of you commented, hey, where are the sayings from around the world? So this is a segment where I used to take some phrases that I know in German and in English and try to find and ask you, my international viewers, what this expression means in your language and how you would translate this. And I've been keeping some track about that, and two of those things were toot my own horn, which in English of course means you know, you probably, well, as far as I understood it, is that you are not kind of bragging about yourself, but you try to be humble about it, but you say, like, it's rather cool that I did that. I mean, I did that in a very good way. I mean, it was probably very successful. So you would say, not to toot my own horn here. And in Germany, it's actually just, and I think you have a similar expression to this, it's not to pat myself on the back here. And I suppose that is an expression that you would also have, but yeah, that's the equivalent here. And what I said, I'm just going to do this with my left hand, or usually in German we just say, I'm doing this with left. Means, of course, that it's really, really easy for you. Well, actually, that doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, well, of course, well, it does make sense because most of the population obviously is right-handed, and so doing things with your left hand seem more difficult. But you know, if it's a task that is that easy, you're just gonna do it you can easily do it with your left hand. I am left-handed myself, so this expression, I'm just going to do this with my left hand, or left, has always been very funny to me because, yes, of course, I'm doing everything with my left hand. So yeah, is there something like that in your language? Like, for example, if you think that it's just, or maybe it's like, yeah, I know there's something about like, it's like a cakewalk or a cakewalk, or it's as easy as if a baby could do that, or something like that. Maybe you've got some colorful and interesting expressions in your language as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments down in the comment section. Of course, where else would you put it? So yeah, speaking of doing something very easily, I have been on Flosstube now for a year. So September 8th was my 1-year Flosstube anniversary. I think that's what it's called. And yeah, it's been such a great year, such an interesting and eventful year. And I have hit 1,000 subscribers recently, and I have hosted a few German stitching retreats, smaller regional retreats, and we are gearing up and kind of building up the reputation or the word of mouth, whatever, for a bigger stitching retreat here in Germany. Of course, there is this stitching retreat, this international stitching retreat that is planned in Basel. I'm sure you've heard about that. If not, I'm gonna put a link to the Facebook group down there, down in the description. That's where you can find some more information. That's where you can not register to participate, but register to show your interest. And Dawn and Amy will contact you as soon as everything is finalized. But now I'm getting off track. So yeah, I've been hosting a few stitching retreats, and I just the other day, just last weekend, I had a stitching retreat in Essen, so in the western part of Germany, and one of the participants actually told me that she didn't, like, new videos of mine weren't recommended to her on the start page of her YouTube. And as I've looked into the analytics and watched some videos and tried to understand why my viewer rate dropped, I realized that, of course, I have German and I have international subscribers, but not all of you click all of my videos. So many Germans would only watch the German videos, and many English speaking people sorry, would only watch the English videos. And so, like, the interest of the whole, like, YouTube basically thought I'm not that interesting anymore, and that's why they stopped kind of recommending it to recommending my videos to people. So I figured if I switch those two, like, not switch, like, divide those two channels, both languages will benefit from that, because it's easier for YouTube to find the people who might be interested in this video. So that's why I am doing it like this, and I need your help for this, because the more you click the like button and the more you comment under this video, just with a phrase that I can have a look at, or just saying, hi, I'm sending greetings to you in Hamburg, the more it helps me. The more interaction, the more it helps. You can even write down, well, Ilonka, the scarf that you're wearing, I mean, the crochet job you did is just absolutely appalling. Even that would be fine, because that would be an interaction, and that would tell the algorithm that I'm interesting enough to be recommended. Now, that was a very long sentence and a very long explanation. So yeah, and I really want to continue to do these international videos, because that's where I started, and that's where I met the most extraordinary people from all over the world. I have been invited to Zoom calls where I met people from all over the world, and I have learned so much about my own culture, about other people's culture. We have wonderful exchanges about languages, about cultural experiences and stuff, and that's something that I value very highly. And yeah, I want to keep that up, and I don't want to lose you. So yeah, I'm doing a channel just for you. But now I've talked for like 10 minutes. I think it's time for me to show you some stitching, right? So the first thing that I want to share with you is my lighthouse, and look at that. I think I made it. I think I got the stains out. If you're new here, I think I'm gonna gradually upload the older videos to this channel as well. So I had a huge problem with this particular pattern. It was a kit, and it came with a beige colored Aida, and that was one of my first kits that I've ever stitched on, and I just went ahead and marked the 10 by 10 squares with a felt tip friction pen. And at first it disappeared when I was ironing it and when I was washing it, but after a few months they came back, and so they got even stronger over time. And so I dumped, where is it, 2 bottles of this special stain remover that is specially for pens and paint. Dumped the 2nd bottle now on it and had it sit overnight and, you know, prayed. And I think I almost got it. There are some very faint lines out here on the on the fabric still left, but what was really bothering me was that you could really see the lines here in the clouds and on the lighter parts, and that seems to be gone. The color of the floss is still amazing, and so I'm gonna wait a few weeks before I finalize and frame it, and then I think I'm gonna frame it with a how do you call that, like with a mat, I think is what you call it, with a mat right up to the edge, so that even the faint things will not be as visible anymore. But yes, I think I made it. Because I really thought, like, I mean, it's ruined anyway, so I can dump as many chemicals on that as I want, because, and then I can tell you about how the floss behaves, how the fabric behaves. So this was a kit by Alisa Collections. So it's a Russian company, and I don't know, they sell kits basically, and I'm quite sure that, I don't know, 123Stitch or so might still have some in stock. So yeah, that was, again, the stitching is still, like, the floss is still perfect. So yeah, if you remember last time, I was a bit mopey and moany about where my Stitch-Ilonka went, because I was really like, I only had these bigger projects and I couldn't, I didn't see much progress, and you know, all those explanations and excuses basically. And so I went through all of my stash and thought to myself, well, I have so many beautiful fabrics and so many beautiful flosses, I just want to play with them. And I found this freebie. You probably have already seen this and know this. This is by Freebie PuntiniPuntini. Please enter your pin. It's a freebie. You can find it on her website. And I thought this was a perfect pattern to play with a bit of my stash. And that's what I came up with. And it's really great that you can see the variegation on the writing. And yeah, I'm going to tell you what floss I used. So I used, really, I went through my stash, thought about which colors I would want to use, and I just went for it. So the writing is this one. This is a floss by Owl Forest Embroidery. The number is 34 something. Obviously you cannot really purchase it right now, so yeah, it's a wonderful variegation from a lilac or a purple to blue, and it's just, and it works with this lavender colored Belfast 32 count linen that I picked for this. And I just think it shows up really nicely. And then I also had for the tomato, well, these tomatoes in real life, they are covered, well, as far as I know them or I remember them, they are covered in a thin felt layer. And so I was looking for something that had this very matte felt-like finish. And although I didn't like this floss at first, and I still don't really like it, it's by a Danish company. No, Danish? Wait. Yes, by a Danish company, Fremme. And this is a cotton yarn, and you can already see that it's actually thicker than the regular DMC. And here I stitched it 2/2, which was way too much. And then I just stitched it 1/2 in this part. And yeah, it gives a wonderful matte finish, but it's so hard to pull through. I know that a lot of my German friends like them because of the wonderful coverage, and I can see the appeal, but I don't really like working with that, no. And then I picked the green. I thought I would want to have a wonderful kind of variegation green, so I picked Weeks Dye Works Collard. That goes from lighter green to darker green. It's got a bit of a sheen on it. And for the wood, haha, I didn't realize that before. For the wood part of the spool, I used the Gentle Art Wood Smoke. That is just a wonderful light and dark brown variegation. So, and then there were the French knots for the pins. And I really thought, I have seen so many tutorials for that, and it can't be that complicated, can it? But yeah, it was complicated, because I just used one strand of this TMC overdyed, hand-dyed floss, one strand, and it's 32 count linen, so it's rather loose. So I think this combination of just one thin strand and a rather loose hole is not the best for French knots. So I just went ahead and picked some beads and tried my hand at beading. And I am really happy how it came out. And yeah, oh, I'm going to tell you something about PuntiniPuntini, because let me just grab something. So I bought this, when I think of stitching by PuntiniPuntini, which was a new release at Nashville this year. And I want to stitch this now. And she always has these beautiful pins that go with her designs. So I was on her Etsy shop the other day looking for matching pins. And then I saw that she had this pattern online as a PDF that you can purchase as a PDF online. And so I contacted her and I was like, I purchased this. I actually purchased this twice. I purchased this as a paper pattern. Would you be able to send me a PDF pattern if I show you proof of purchase? And she was like, yes, of course, just send me a picture, which you can easily do via Etsy. And then I'm going to send you the PDF file. And I got it from her. That was very, very, very nice. And I tried to put it in Pattern Keeper, but my Pattern Keeper skills are not as sophisticated as I thought they would. So it doesn't really work that easily with Pattern Keeper, but I'm quite sure that some of you very savvy, tech savvy, Pattern Keeper savvy people will be able to put this in Pattern Keeper. And then I asked her if it would be okay for me to share this story with you. And she said, of course, yes. And so if you have a paper pattern of one of PuntiniPuntini's patterns and you would rather have them as a digital pattern, maybe just to use as a, I know some people use the PDF reader on their iPhone. So yeah, you can definitely contact her and ask her and see if you can kind of prove that you really have the paper pattern, and then you could probably get the digital pattern as well. One that I also wanted to start right away was this one. It's called Supernatural Love by CrossStitchFoxy on Etsy. And this was also a good pattern to try out some different yarns that I have. The funny thing is, someone under my last video, I talked about that I wanted to start this one, and someone said that she also, she hasn't been watching that many Flosstubes, but she has also been rewatching Supernatural. And I don't know why it is that it's currently popping up in everyone's bubble, but I suppose it's just because of the boys, or maybe because there might be another spin-off series from Supernatural. So yeah, we will see. Anyway, so I used a black silk floss by Mrs. Sedas that Esther gave me, and here's another opportunity for you to take a shot and to drink something, because there will not be a video where I will not be talking about Esther. Anyway, so Esther once gave me this floss, and you will not be able to see that. It's a slightly variegated yarn from black to very, very dark blue, and it's got rather a matte finish, and I like that very much. And it was much fun to stitch with that. This is a 16 count Ada, and I used 2 strands. Yes, I think I used 2 strands. And so yeah, it's got wonderful coverage. It's got a nice matte finish. And then I thought, well, since I'm gonna try out some things, I used C310 by DMC. So the Etoile glitter yarn. No, not for me. The effect doesn't really merit the effort that I had to put into this, because it was fraying like crazy. Oh, but Amy J by Amy J's Creations just the other day told me that she's in Switzerland, and there is a Danish store, some kind of like an equivalent to the dollar store, and they also have glitter yarn, and she said that's much easier to work with them. So I will be heading out tomorrow on a shopping trip, another shopping trip, to see if I can get this glitter yarn. But yeah, anyway, it's just this small piece, but that was already enough for me. And this one is also a Miss Useda silk. This is available at her. Well, I forgot to say that this black to blue variegation yarn is not available at Miss Useda's. I contacted her and I was like, I want to talk about it. But she said, yeah, no, it was just a test color, and I sent it to another Flosstuber to test out, and I said, yeah, that was my friend. So I'm sorry, but this is Sienna. This one is called Sienna, and as you can see, there are very light yellow parts in there. So I made sure that I will not use the very bright yellow parts, and I stitched like the outline and then went around in circles so that the variegation is not that bad. So yeah, I've got another finish. Next start and finish is Erica Michaels. Why don't I have it here? Erica Michaels, Stitch All the Things. And I had this beautiful 16 count Ada. That was also something that I realized, that I have been making it way too hard on myself, because I thought I would have to kind of stitch on linen and stitch on a higher count, you know, to be a more fancy stitcher. Yeah, to be a more fancy stitcher. So I basically put pressure on myself. But I have this wonderful 16 count Ada dyed by Esther as well, and I did the floss toss with you, and I had you vote either for this one or for some blue fabric, and you chose this one. And so I stitched it with floss that I've chosen myself. And it was so wonderful to see that the I and the L and the O was in the perfect order to stitch it in a different color, because my kind of nickname, my short nickname, if someone calls for me, is Ilo. So I-L-O, Ilo. And I thought that was rather fitting. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased with this one. It looks amazing. And Amy, if you're watching this, please look away, because just yesterday in your video you said, if I see people stitching on stuff and they leave so much space around it, I can easily fit two more patterns on it. And she is so right, because I really put it smack dab in the middle. And yeah, I could have easily fit another pattern on this. I'm sorry. And I was kind of angry with myself as well at the end. But yeah, so this is the Stitch All the Things, and I'm quite sure that there will be a stitch along in October for this pattern. So I don't know if it's Stitch All the Things sell or something, so keep an eye out for that on Instagram over the next month. So my next start and finish is a bit of a story. I hosted a stitching retreat last weekend in Essen, and that was on the 9th. Started on the 9th of September, so the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. Yeah, and obviously on the 8th of September this year, Queen Elizabeth II passed away. And while I was driving to one of the few German stores, stitching stores that is close to where I was hosting, and it took me like 4 hours. And so I had the radio on, and I heard so many wonderful stories about her. And you can obviously have everyone is entitled to their own opinion, if you like the monarchy or not, or if you like Elizabeth or not. But for me, she was kind of a significant person. And she's always reminded me of my grandmother. And when she died, or when I learned of her passing, I was really sad. Not really because I knew her or she was such a, I don't know, special person in my life. She didn't play any role in my life. But I always felt like she was the stern look. Yeah, she always had like this stern look about her, and that was something that reminded me a lot about of my grandmother, because she was never really a loud person. She would never really voice that she didn't like something, but she would have a certain look about her, and she wore her hair in the same way and stuff. So it was really like, I felt like the world has lost their grandmother, that grandmother with the stern look, and who was a picture of fulfillment of duty. I don't know. So yeah, everyone feels about this in a certain kind of way, and I accept that, and I obviously yeah, that's totally fine with me. But for me, I had to start something to commemorate her. And because I was traveling to my stitching retreat, I took one of the patterns with me, like one of the patterns on one of the projects, and that was the blue fabric with the where I wanted to start the German letter sampler on. But of course, because this was a wonderful blue, I thought that would be wonderful to stitch a beautiful crown on it. And I found this crown, let me just tell you where I got this from, NotSoModernMillie on Etsy. I found this crown, and when I was at that stitching store, we went around and had a look for which color to use, and I found a wonderful Karen Water Lilies silk yarn in the colorway 218 Ash, and that is silver variegating to a fuchsia lavender color. And the variegation is not that visible, but anyway, so at this retreat where I hosted this, there was a tiny kind of a jewelry stand, and she had this tiny handbag lying there, and I said, how perfect is this? I mean, this fabric obviously reminds me of my vacation this summer. That's where I bought it. This is the commemoration about, of course, the Queen's passing, which was on the 1-year Flosstube anniversary of my Flosstube anniversary. And this handbag will also remind me of her and of the stitching retreat. And at first I wanted to stitch the phrase that Liz, from Australia, Stitch by Liz, charted. I'm gonna link it below. She charted this quote by Elizabeth, who said, grief is the price we pay for love. And I thought that was a really nice phrase, but the way she charted it was too big for this piece. So I think I'm gonna just stay with the years underneath there, and then I'm gonna finish it in just a simple frame, and then yeah, it's gonna be another thing hanging on my wall. Oh, I'm quite sure that it's not noticeable. I'm looking outside and listening to the ship's horns. I am living like 2 or 3 kilometers, like straight across from the harbor, and the harbor in Hamburg is really close to the city, like to the inner city. And we are celebrating the cruise days this weekend, so this means that a few cruise ships are going on their cruises today, and they are leaving all together. So there's going to be like a cruise ship parade down the river. And they have just been tooting their horns. Ha! How perfect does this fit for today's episode? But yeah, I don't think you will be able to hear that. No, okay. Ilonka, concentrate now. So before I went to my stitching retreat, I visited one of the shops that I've also been telling you about before. This is really a beautiful, wonderful, tiny little shop in the outskirts of the big cities in the western part of Germany. And when I'm around or when I'm in the area, I have to go and visit her. And what I realized after last time's video, when I was like complaining about why I'm not stitching that as much as I should, and I have all these little beautiful patterns, and why am I not stitching on it, was I realized that I didn't have the right fabric. I only had boring white fabric that I planned on dyeing one day, which I will probably not be doing anytime soon. And I have these beautiful, crazy dyed fabrics by Esther, but most of them are with glitter, and some of the patterns that I have don't really fit on that. So I said, well, I'm visiting Frau Schmidt, and I'm visiting her, so I'm gonna have a look through her Murano, like Zweigart Murano stash, and see which colors I like and just take them. Because I also realized that 16 count is the right size for me, because my eyesight is so bad. I know I've been talking about that for a long time. Probably soon will have the opportunity to fix it anyway. So, realizing these issues that I have with my Stitch-Ilonka, I went for it. I bought 32 count Murano and 32 count linen, and maybe also 35 count or 36 count, so that I will not have so many problems in stitching what I want to stitch. So, and Frau Schmidt had some more Picture This Plus fabric that you probably also have in your countries. But we don't have them very often here, and I think she is more or less the only person who sells it. And what I also did was, I don't just have like the sticker on it, but I put some more stickers on them, because when I was sorting them into my stash, I had my trusty ruler, and I already measured how big the space is, or how many crosses I can do if I leave 10 centimeters of a border. How much is that in inches? I don't know. So that I can, when I am sorting through my fabrics and trying to pick out a matching fabric, I can look on the sticker, and it says me for this one, for example, 200 by 316 crosses. That is, of course, if you leave a broad frame around it, like a lot of space around it. So you might probably be able to fit smaller. I mean, Amy J will probably be able to fit like 1,000 patterns on one of these things. But yeah, so that really helped me when I was kind of sorting things together, and I bought a few of these very simple document pouches, and I have them stacked just like that in my cupboard, on the shelves. Yeah, that's the word. And I can easily just flick through it and see what I have. And I've already sorted the pattern and either the floss that I have, if it's specialty floss, or the pattern and the fabric that I have. And so I can easily just pull out a new project and start on it. So, long story short, this is the first one. Picture This Plus 36 count Edinburgh in the colorway Shale. It looks very brownish and gray on this recording, but it is actually a very, very nice dark purple. yeah, it looks completely brown and gray on this one, but it's really a purple. And what I like about this one is that you have a lighter, less mottled part on the top here and a more mottled part on the bottom here. So you can easily, you know, think which side you like better. The next one is Picture This Plus Edinburgh 36 count in the colorway Jade, which is just fabulous. Look at this gorgeous green. It reminds me very much of one of the green fabrics that I had from Esther that I was giving away in one of my giveaways. And I love it. I love the modeling, the subtle modeling. I love the color. This might be a good one because it looks like a swamp thing for the Quaker, the duck Quaker, quack Quaker by Michal that I showed in my last video. That might be a good one. And that's what I love shopping in these stores in person, is because I actually printed out the threads that I would have to use for this one. The drawn thread, chrysanthemums, and I've shown you this already. This is a piece that I want to start in November as a commemoration piece for my grandmother. It would have been her birthday, her 100th birthday. Oh my God, I'm just realizing that. No, her 110th birthday. She was born in 1912, so it would be her 110th birthday. Goodness me. So I'm going to start this in November, and I went over because this calls for NPI silks, needlepoint silks, and I've never worked with them before, but I knew that Paul Schmidt had a lot of them in stock. And I found this Picture This Plus 32 count Lugana even weave in the colorway Sand, which is this one. Oh, that looks so gorgeous. And so the colors that are called for this pattern are also very brownish and muted. And there is a nice dinky dye green. I'm gonna see if I can do this like this. There's a wonderful gold. Okay, I'm running out of fingers here. Bear with. I'm gonna hang this over here. It's a nice red, deep red, and three more. A darker green and two more of these brownish, reddish colors. And I think it looks perfect together. And so I've already sorted this fabric for this project, but obviously the project is just 55 by 55 stitches. So I will be able to do many more patterns on this one. I love it. So yeah, what else did I buy? Yes, I bought, this is an older one, but I've been eyeing this one for ages. It's Christmas, it's already out of the packaging, but it's still glary. Anyway, so this was in 2021, a Christmas pattern by Cottage Garden Samplings, Christmas Eve. And I have been eyeing this one already because I just love the huge golden beard, and I love the pattern on his sack there. And when I showed this to my boyfriend, he was like, "Oh, that's so beautiful, because you could use your beads that you have, and then you can stitch like the flower on his sack, you can stitch them in beads. And maybe also the golden accent on his robe." And I was like, I sometimes even think when I'm talking about my stitching that he's not really listening to me, but then he comes up with these ideas. So yeah, it's shown here on a rather grayish, I don't know what fabric, Ancient Linen by Picture This Plus. But I got a Zweigart Belfast in the colorway Silver Gray 70705, which is just a plain gray. I'm gonna do a floss toss and see how the colors, if they are also cool toned and if it works with this one. Otherwise I would have to switch out the fabric, but at first glance this looks rather nice together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to stitching this. Oh, I could stitch this one now because there is Santa September, right? But there is also Sampler September. And can there also be a Settle Down September? Okay, what else do I have here? I just bought another piece of this very yellowish. It's just called Light Beige by Zweigart, Belfast. That is actually also a very famous German saying, having is better than needing. I suppose, I mean, I've talked to Leonie Stitchy Madness, who's also German, who did Flosstubes way back. And she said she never heard of this phrase before, but I'm quite sure that people who work like blue-collar jobs like plumbers and I don't know, woodworkers and stuff, it's always like, if you can get like a package of screws or nails for free, then you would just grab them whether you know you need it or not, because having is better than needing. Oh, and then I also realized something, because there it is. And then I realized something when I was sorting all of this away, because I bought also a piece of Belfast linen, 32 count, in vintage country mocha, I suppose it is, or milk coffee, like cafe latte, Milchkaffee, color number 3009. And it looks like this. And then I also bought the Murano, which is an even weave. This is a linen, this is an even weave, which has the same colored number. So 3008, that is on the back here. The first color indicates the kind of the type of fabric. So Murano is 3985. And the next number is the colorway. So this is the colorway 3009. I suppose this is vintage country mocha, and this is what it looks like on Murano, so even weave, and this is what it looks like on linen. Both of them are printed, so the reverse side is just plain, also with this one, which I really like, because sometimes you really just need a calmer tone, or you would want to use this one. So anyway, you get the gist. So that's what I learned yesterday when I was filming my German video, that the same colorway can look very different on different types of fabric. So this is linen and this is even weave. This is much darker, I suppose. But yeah, so now I finally know what the numbers on the Q are, not on the EAN code here on the back mean. And then while I was going through the Murano stash, I found this beautiful, it's called charcoal gray. It's not really a black, it's more of a, yeah, it's a charcoal color. And I was very brave buying this, but when I unpacked it, I was like, where are the holes? I cannot see anything. Because it's not just that it is dark and you have to find the holes, but it's also like kind of, is the reverse side? Yeah, it's also kind of modeled. Do you see that? It's really like charcoal. So yeah, this is gonna be a challenge, but I already have the pattern that I want to stitch on this. This is Hands-on Design Bloom Chalkful. I don't know if she used a black, let me see what kind of fabric she recommended. Linen, Slate Fabrics by Stephanie. Okay, 32 count. Anyway, it was not there, she doesn't say a colorway. So yeah, this is gonna be a challenge, but I'm willing to accept that. And then I found this color, I think it's called Plum. In international terms, a color number 9033. Whew. Isn't that just beautiful? It's such a great color. I have no idea what I'm gonna stitch on this. Maybe this would also be good for the Quaker or for any Quaker. Yeah, 32 count Murano in the colorway Plum. And then, of course, I found this color, which is called Bordeaux, colorway 9060. And this is just the most perfect nail polish, lip color red, Christmas red that you can imagine. as soon as I hear the word Bordeaux, I'm thinking of a much darker and more purpley toned red. But this is a Christmas red. This is really like the 3-to-1 DMC, a really true Christmas red. And I have, in my Etsy wish list, I have little biscornus stitched on this type of red fabric with white, and they look so beautiful. So like Christmas biscornus, like the type that Scandinavians, like a Scandinavian type of design, hygge type of design. So yeah, this is Bordeaux. Love this color. And then the last fabric that I got was this mystery fabric in green. It looks much more tealy in the camera, but it is really a nice green, bluish. It is a bluish green, but it's not quite as tealy as it looks in the camera right now. And I was thinking about stitching these Christmas dogs on there. This was actually a kit by Historical Sampler Company, and I wanted to stitch that. It came with this light blue or gray blue Ada, but I didn't really, the color really was too flat for me. It didn't really vibe. It wasn't really exciting enough. And so I'm thinking about stitching it on this green. I would just probably have to swap out, well, maybe not even. This green will show up anyway. What is this? This is a brownish color. The colors will show up. Well, the colors will show up fine, I suppose. This one might be a bit dark. I could swap that out. But yeah, this is gonna look amazing. So yeah, this has been more or less my experience over the last 2 weeks. The stitching retreat last weekend was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I met 20 new wonderful women from all over Germany. Actually, not just all over Germany, but also someone came over from the Netherlands. So Essen, the city called Essen, is not too far from the border to the Netherlands, and some people in the Netherlands are really fluent in German, and she usually listens to American Flosstubes, and she heard Karen, the Needlebug, talk about me. I don't know, Karen mentioned me a few weeks back, and she said that I'm also doing German Flosstubes, and so she was like, oh, I like to listen to German-speaking Flosstubes again, like, because, to practice my German and everything. And so she learned about the stitching retreat, and she was like, well, it's just a 2-hour or 2.5-hour drive by car from Rotterdam, where she lives, to Essen. And so she hopped on the car and she joined us at this retreat, and it was just amazing, wonderful. I sit there right in the middle of these women, and well, it's really only women, unfortunately, because I have not yet come across a German male stitcher who wants to join us. Maybe in October at the Creative Fair in Berlin. But yeah, someone else was sitting on the train for 4 hours to get there, and sitting right in the middle of these women who were there just because of me, and who were stitching all the time and showing off their finishes. Some of them had their finishes wrapped in huge towels, and they were just flaunting them off and showing them off. And one of them was also like, Ilonka, where are your finishes? And I was like, I'm showing you my finishes all of the time into the camera. And and then she said, well, it's something completely different if you see it in person. You need to take your finishes with you next time. And so I was like, yeah, it's rather good that I'm doing these smaller retreats right now, because now I can do all the mistakes. So these are all trial runs for a bigger one, maybe next year. I hope. So yeah, my next stitching retreat is on the 8th of October in Berlin, and it was actually just there will be a creative, like a fair or a like a convention, a creative convention, people selling, I don't know, fabric, wool, everything that you can be creative with, paper, scrapbooking, whatever. And people ask me, oh, shall we go, you know, to the fair together, and then we can just sit somewhere and meet up somewhere afterwards and stitch together. And I didn't know what to do about that because I don't know Berlin as well. And so I was just like, where can we have like a location or something? So I called the people who are running this fair, and I was like, do you have like a room or some tables or something? And she was like, yes, of course. We don't have many cross-stitching kind of vendors on this site or in this fair, or not many cross-stitch sellers are active at that fair. So you can just sit, you know, smack dab in the middle and stitch there and answer questions if you want to. So I have a booth at a huge creative fair in Berlin in October. And I'm completely blown away by that. And that's all happened after just 1 year of Flosstube and 1.5 years of stitching. And I started out doing the English videos, and so I'm ever so grateful for all of you, my loyal viewers, who have been with me from the beginning, who've been subscribing to me, liking my videos so that other people might find me. And I'm just ever so grateful for that. And yeah, before I get teary right now, I think I'm gonna sign off. So let me tell you just again, please hit the thumbs up button and please interact in some kind of way with this video. Just make a comment, even if you just, you know, put some hearts in there. Or I know Patchy Pony Stitcher usually puts like two horse emojis in there, and so I know that she watched my videos, and it's just so nice. Do anything, you know, or maybe just say hi, Ilonka, it's me, or whatever. And also, if you want to, I I've opened a Ko-fi, like Buy Me a Coffee account, which is basically for the German subscribers who might, you know, contribute to my travel expenses. But if you feel so inclined, and if you want to support me as well, so that I might also be able to do another giveaway to other countries as well, then please feel free to do so. All the links are below. Thank you so very much for sticking with me. Thank you very much for coming over and subscribing to this new channel. And I hope to see you very, very soon, my lovelies. Have a wonderful weekend, and I see you soon. Bye.